Hello everybody. So I'm going to walk you through a quick tutorial on how to find papers in Google Scholar. You all have used this in some form or another for other classes, or maybe just because you were looking for papers. So first place we're going to start is Google. If you know how to get to Google Scholar, just go there on your own, or you can type in scholar.google.com into the search bar and hit enter. This is going to take you to the Google Scholar page. All right, I am interested in beetles, and as you can see, I've already searched for this a couple of times. And because I know the scientific name for beetles, I'm going to start with that. Coleoptera is the order name for beetles, and the reason that I'm typing in the order name is because beetles as a term is way too broad. So let's start with this, Coleoptera. And I am going to try phylogeny, just generally speaking. If you want, you can use a lot more specific terms, such as molecular phylogeny. If you want perhaps morphology and molecules and perhaps behavior, I would suggest just typing in phylogeny. Now, if you don't know the scientific name for the group of organisms that you're interested in, I highly suggest you go and find that in Wikipedia. Let me quickly show you how to do that. So we're going to go to wikipedia.org, and let's say that you are interested in dogs in general, right? I know a lot of you are interested in canines, so let's do, I'm just going to type in dog. All right, on the right side here, and I've shown this to you in the class before, but really see if you can use this. It's an extremely useful tool. On the right here on Wikipedia, what's gathered is a lot of the scientific classification information. If you're interested in dogs, right, that's good. You know what your general interest is. But if you're interested in dogs in terms of if the canine phylogeny, then you have to go a little bit higher than domestic dogs. This is an article on dogs as we know them, our pets. So unless you can find a phylogeny that studied dogs or dog breeds, I would not suggest starting at a low level like this. Instead, I would maybe go all the way up to the family level, or if you're interested in carnivores as a whole, that would be kind of interesting, go up to carnivora. If you want to do mammals as a whole, you can do that. You can even find phylogenies on the chordates. So let's try canids as an example. Over here on the right, you will now see that we are in the family Canidae, and this is what I would do. All right, I would just ignore all of the Wikipedia stuff. You are going to find this information on your own based on actual papers. Now, there is a way to actually find sources in Wikipedia without going through Google Scholar first. Let's say that you're interested in the source of this particular dog phylogeny, and it will actually kind of give you an overview of phylogenies and phylogenetic analyses in Wikipedia. If you're lucky, that is not true for most taxa. You can actually find some information here in the references. Those might take you to the articles themselves. Most of the time, they do not. All right, so back to our Google Scholar search. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go back to beetles. If you're interested in canines as a whole, you would type in Canidae and then phylogeny. All right, here's our list of papers. There's a lot of hits, 87,500 results. Whew, that's a lot to sift through. So what I want you all to do is over here on the left, there's a custom range button. Click it, and I want us to focus on papers from the last 10 years. That is quite a range, but it'll limit your search quite a bit. If you're looking at anything before 2010, that's okay, but I would suggest starting there. If you are interested in a group of organisms for which nothing has been published after 2010, just ask and see if it is okay that you use papers that were published before. All right, take a look at this first paper that popped up for me, the phylogeny of Coleoptera. It was published in 1960. I'm pretty sure that this has been updated since. So I want to make sure that I'm looking for recent papers. We're going to try 2010 to 2020, and here we get the very first paper that pops up from 2011. This is a beautiful paper. I have read it many, many times in my work, and it presents a phylogeny based on morphology of both adults and larval beetles. So that sounds neat. When you are searching for papers on Google Scholar, you all know that sometimes you get lucky, and there is a link to the paper here, a PDF, and you can go straight to that link, and ta-da, it opens up your PDF, which you can then save. Everybody knows how to save a document, but in case you don't, and you're in Windows specifically, there's this little download button. You can download it, save it somewhere recognizable. This one is automatically set to my desktop, but oftentimes your save function is automatically set to your downloads. Try to make sure you save it to a place that is recognizable. I would make a folder for your systematics class and then put it in there. All right, so everybody knows how to save it. I would save your papers such that it starts with the authors. This particular paper was written by John Lawrence and a lot of other people. I would do Lawrence et al., and then this was published in 2011, and then put the title. Notice that I'm putting underscores there, just because sometimes programs find that easier to read. So this is just for you, right? Phylogeny Coleoptera. And now I have my paper saved on my desktop. The reason that I'm showing you how to save a document is because you are required to provide me with your phylogeny for your final paper. So let's go back to Google Scholar. Let's say that you cannot find a PDF or there is none listed. I will make a separate tutorial on what you do then. All right, because if you can't find a paper here, well, where do you go? Turns out you can go to the Hanover Library website. So I will make a separate video to show you how to do that. I also want to point out that sometimes those documents or those papers that you cannot find a PDF of directly, they might ask you to pay for the paper. So let's say that you click on that paper. This is a phylogeny of the elateroids, so click beetles and such. It's got some things in here. It's got some pictures and a beautiful phylogeny here that you can actually download. That's awesome if you've got a presentation and you want to include that particular phylogeny in it. But it's not going to allow you to download the paper. You're going to have to pay for it. In fact, if you click Get Access, it'll ask you, hey, sign up for an account, and then you're going to have to pay for it anyway. Do not do that, guys. It is not necessary to ever pay for a paper. You are a student of Hanover, and you have access to all the papers that you need. So, this was a general overview of how to find a paper in Google Scholar. I would suggest scrolling through some of the other papers. Don't go with the very first one. I would find a couple that you can work with, and that way you've got a little bit of a better grasp on what's known. What if you find two papers that were published in the same year or a couple of years apart? Which is better? Which is worse? Which one uses molecules? Which one uses morphology? What kinds of genes do they use, right? Take a look and take some time and figure out which paper you think is a better representation of that group of organisms. So enjoy searching your papers. Find some time to really delve into the literature a little bit. There's a lot out there to find. And if you need help, just ask. Next, you can look for the tutorial on how to look for papers on the Hanover College website at our library. So have fun, and I will see you all soon.